Howdy, 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 folks. Today we are going to be reviewing the Origin 890 Jump. Now, this is one of the largest ships that is currently flyable in game and can be a load of fun for multi-crew gameplay, and specifically can be used as a great platform for the roleplay folks out there. It is often compared to the Anvil Carrack, and it is of a similar size and shares some of the same capabilities, but is not really fitting for a one-to-one comparison. Much like there's no direct competitor to the Carrack, there is no true direct competitor to the 890. Now, you can purchase the 890 for $32,294,500 Alpha UEC at Astro Armada in Area 18, or the same price at New Deal in Lorville. Additionally, the 890 can be purchased from RSI during limited time events and is quantity limited as well. Actually, I believe they did a sale for it last night. I was kicking myself when I got home from work and saw the blow up on my different social media platforms talking about 890s for sale. I was like, oh gosh, I should have finished this yesterday. But either way, last time it was on offer, I saw it was retailing for $950 US, which is a lot. But to each their own. It's a cool ship. With all that in mind, let's start looking at the ship itself. Entering your 890 Jump for the first time and you're getting into it from a space station, it'll probably be docked, and these are the docking ports. There's one on each side, about midships in height, and really pretty far back in the ship itself. It's nicely appointed. It's adequately lit. I actually kind of like these hallways. I like how they flow. The first thing you'll come to is this elevator. Now, this elevator, if you're getting into the ship and you were surface side somewhere, this is the elevator you'll probably be taking, and it is either exiting the ship or bringing you up to right here. It doesn't go to any other levels. But here we're going to get to the fun part of the ship. Through these glass doors, we get to the main passenger area. Now, automatically you will notice that everything on this side of the ship, the passenger side, is extremely luxurious. From the furniture to the design cues, the passenger area of the ship does a fantastic job of reminding you that this is a luxury yacht, not some blue-collar workhorse ship. In the corners of the main passenger hall, we have two staterooms that are identical to each other. They're just mirror images, and they come with beds. You can play chess. You can move the chessboard, actually. This ship does actually have quite a few small interactive things that you don't always get on a lot of ships, so it's kind of neat. They also come with their own restrooms. Mandatory vampire check. Yep, still a lurker. Okay. We got nice looking showers, bathroom, all the necessities for a habitation unit on your 33 million credit luxury yacht, of course. And once again, each of the staterooms, there are 4 total. There's 2 on this deck. We'll get to the other 2 in a minute. They all look identical. I'm not going to waste y'all's time running in and out of each one. Okay, so under the staircase, you will find 3 hallways. There's one on each side and the main hallway. The ones to the sides house these, what is that, 10 person, 8 people, 8 person escape pods that I don't think actually function. I haven't tried it. You can sit in them, but I don't think it does anything. And then, of course, there's an elevator on each side. The one to the right, if you're coming from the stairs, also additionally has an access ladder that you can use to get down to the engineering crew compartment. Well, let's go look at the spa area, which is what's in this main hallway here. You'll see first we have a nice hot tub. Although, this one doesn't have any water in it. If you do the 890 rescue mission, that'll actually have water and maybe a dead passenger or 2 floating in it. So, tomato, tomato. Some things are great, some things not so much. Come over here. We have these saunas. And, of course, a shower to wash off the steam. Go a little further. On each side of the spa deck, we have an elevator that can take us down to the crew compartment or up to the lounge. As we're looking around here, we've got little places to change. Theoretically, store your clothing, although that's not currently a thing. And then up here at the front, we have a nice pool. And it almost looks like there's water in it, but I'm not buying it. Oh, because once again, if you do the 890 jump rescue mission, there is clearly water in here. There's also, once again, dead passengers, possibly crew members floating in it. So, once again, you take the good with the bad. No water, no bodies. I'll take the no bodies part. As we come back out here, we're going to go up to the bar lounge area, and that's on this first landing here for the stairs. We've got a nice steel sculpture here. Looks like stainless steel would be my guess. I mean, I'm not a metallurgist. And of course, some probably extremely expensive, irreplaceable vases, because you can't have a luxury yacht without irreplaceable archaeological artifacts. We've got, once again, nice couches. I mean, everything about this ship is designed to be nice, to be top of the line. Here are the other two staterooms for passengers. Once again, it's just like the ones downstairs, and there are two of them. There's one across that hall there. We come to the front. We have these restrooms, which are pretty important. I think it's probably a good idea for the alcoholic millionaire to have a place to run to after he's had a few too many at the bar. I didn't catch it a second ago, but there are still elevators. Here's the elevator going up and down. The other elevator chute is actually in that hallway. And here we have a large lounge area. Sit around and talk. Try to avoid eye contact with the drunk sitting at the bar. And we come to the very front of the lounge deck, and we get a small galley, although for me it's less a galley and more of just a place to set food to serve to people while they're eating their incredibly overpriced meals, looking at the marble floors on their spaceship. There's also a conference room. I do actually kind of like the conference room. It looks pretty neat. I kind of want to take this out and get into a big fight with it fully crewed and just sit here and watch the battle. That'd be pretty neat. Let's go up another deck real quick. The 890 jump mission is actually great if you're thinking about getting one of these in game, because you can run all around the ship. You can get a good idea of if you like the layout and if you think it'll work for what you're looking for. We come up to the bridge area. So the bridge area has 3 seats for crew. The one on the left controls 4 different missile turrets. Each of the missile turrets has 8 size 2 Ignite 2 missiles. The seat on the right controls 2 of the laser repeater turrets, and they're mounting, each of those turrets is mounting 2 size 3 337 Panther laser repeaters. And then, of course, there is the pilot seat. The pilot seat does have a few of the things that I consider hallmarks of Origin designs. The first being something that I love, and that is that every Origin ship has great pilot glass, which for a lot of folks might not matter, but it's really nice to be able to see where you're going, if you ask me. It's just a personal preference thing. And then a not so nice thing that is a common thing for Origin ships are these holographic MFDs. My thing with those is that sometimes when you're flying and you're in places where there are very different lighting environments, where it's going back between light and dark, they can be really hard to see. And additionally, if you're telling me you can make holographic MFDs, why would you only put 4? I mean, it's a big ship. There's got to be a lot going on, and there's not a true co-pilot seat. So that's telling me that the person piloting the ship is going to have to handle all of the secondary things that go on with handling a large ship, which is going to be really problematic to me once we get engineering gameplay, because that means the pilot's going to have to handle power management, shield management, and that seems like a lot to deal with while you're also trying not to crash, which is kind of hard to do in this ship if you're flying in Atmo, because it handles, roughly are the words I'm going to use for it. I mean, it's better than a reclaimer, but what isn't? So to me, the ambiance of the bridge is actually really nice. I mean, I'm not huge on the wood floors because it just doesn't seem like somewhere where that kind of thing would be necessary. I doubt the person owning a 33 million credit yacht in real life would be the one piloting it very often. But overall, the aesthetic to me fits a realistic ideal of what spacecraft could become. And I know that's completely subjective and doesn't really matter. But to me, for the large ships, you know, the bridge for a reclaimer just doesn't seem realistic. Doesn't seem to me like that's going to be where somebody can control a ship of that size. The Carrack, on the other hand, very much like this one, you know, there are seats that for the most part make sense. I really do wish there was a co-pilot seat. And I like this completely non-functional but interesting what looks like navigational display here. And just small details that kind of stick out to me. One small point. These look like they're going to be places where you can store stuff. At the moment, you can't. You can open them and close them. I mean, it's small detail, but I figure all the other stuff that they paid attention to, I don't get why they couldn't put like a... Well, it doesn't matter. They didn't do it, and that's their business because it's their game. Haha! All right, we come out here, and we are at the walkway area for the top part of the passenger compartment. There's these nice little places to sit and have private conversations. Little cigar ashtrays. I kind of like that. Yeah, get me one of those. And then we come back here. There's still more seating. Of course, there's all the furniture, all the small cues that once again remind you every part of this ship is a luxury vessel. And we get to the back here, and this is the captain's quarters. This is my favorite part of the ship. Now, I'll be real here. The captain's quarters are awesome, but they also take up entirely too much space. I mean, this whole room right here, this entryway, is a complete waste of space other than the glass is nice to look at. But it serves no actual purpose, and it takes up a pretty large section here for one person. We come back here. We've got the captain's office. Of course, he's got his expensive liquor collection and some nice-looking cigars. He's got a nice desk, although you're not going to be storing a lot of physical files there. Well, I guess it's, 1,000 years in the future. They don't use much paper, would be my estimation. Nice book collection that looks like 100 or so copies of the same book, but, a model of the ship he's flying. Interesting choice. Come around here, and we get to the captain's actual habitation room. Monster TV. I mean, just a monster TV. Nice looking bed. Once again, everything's well appointed. All the artwork flows. Captain's got a nice restroom, a much nicer shower than I have in real life. Captain's still a vampire. All the necessities. And then we get over to the captain's galley, which has 4 chairs. A nice... So of course, the captain's got to get his pre-workout. I have never noticed that the pre-workout. Good Lord. That's actually kind of neat. That's a nice little attention to detail. All the cooking things. So one of the things for me that's neat about the captain's quarters is that it does actually have some of the highest roleplay value in the game for non-combat scenarios. You know, if you're wanting to plot out like a group meeting in a small area to discuss a mission or something like that, it's all right here. You have all the things you need right here. You just got to get the people together and pick out your camera angles. So that's kind of a neat thing. Of course, we've got the aquariums that don't have any fish, but you know, who needs them? It's space. All right, let's go learn about the crew areas. I'll see you guys in just a minute. Okay, we're going to take the elevators here from the escape hatch halls so that we can start at the bottom and work our way up. Remember, either elevator on these halls is going to drop us into an identical hallway housing an engine. So the other side is the exact same as this one, just mirrored. But it is kind of some neat ambient features, and you can see some kind of, I'm guessing, nuclear fusion or something going on right there. I don't know. I'm not a physicist. We come out here into the cargo bay. Now, the cargo bay holds 388 SCU of cargo, which is, of course, not the largest, but it's a respectable amount. For reference, the Carrack holds 456, and the Reclaimer holds 300 on paper, but significantly more if you're willing to live a little dangerous. Now, 2 notes about the cargo bay. First, the QT drive at the front, I actually think that looks pretty awesome. I really do. I mean, yeah, there's no interactions with it. You can't do anything with it. But it's just kind of a neat little touch. It's the kind of thing I latch onto and I love it. These little small details, once again, they're not interactable, but it's just kind of neat to be able to see them. And I have a feeling when this gets another pass, it's probably going to be a few more things that you can mess with. The second thing is that the cargo bay has a ramp that does open and close, goes all the way down and comes all the way back up, of course, and can hold any ground vehicle in the game. What's neat and relatively new since, 318, is with the physicalized cargo. That means that you can load your Cyclone or your Ursa, drive it up into this area once you get the ramp up, go off, do what you're going to do, still have a full cargo grid available to you. And if you need to stop and use one of those vehicles, you can simply pick up cargo, move it over here, drive your vehicle on, lower the ramp, go do what you need to do. And that's some flexibility you don't have with a lot of the ships that are of this size. You know, if you have a full slate of cargo in an A2 or a C2 or a Caterpillar, there's nowhere to put that stuff. It's where it's at. So it's just kind of neat that it's so large that you can move your cargo and get stuff off of it still at the same time and not have to either sacrifice cargo or pass on whatever opportunity you're wanting to stop for. Okay, so up these stairs, we are presented with 5 options. Now, the 2 doors on the sides, like this, are just the elevators again, the same ones that dropped us into the engine rooms and also up to the escape halls. You know, those are the same, one on each side. The ladder is the one that brought us up into that escape hall, of course. I'm not sure why there's smoke coming out of that. Interesting. We're going to take this hallway on the left and we're going to work our way around. All right, so this first area is just a walkway. I mean, it's got a elevator here, takes you to the spa or up to the bar. But it does have 4 good size weapon racks, which means you can carry up to 16 loadouts, which I kind of like. I like setting up each little cell in its own loadout, so depending on what I'm doing, I just go to that cell, I pick it up. and use it. You know, it's just a neat little thing I've started doing. We go a little further down the hall here, and we get to the medical bay. Now, currently there are only 2 ships that have these Tier 2 med beds. It's this, the 890, and of course the Carrack. One of the neat things about that is that you can set your spawn point to the ship. Now, it's only from a limited range. It's not like setting it to a city or something like that. And if you're outside that range, it's going to spawn you to your last actual spawn location from before. But there are some advantages to it. Now, I don't know exactly what that range currently is. I've had to use it in my Carrack, and it spawned me from approximately 20-25 kilometers away, but I don't know the maximum range, and I've heard way too many different accounts to feel comfortable stating a definitive answer. But we'll circle back to discuss the medbed when we get back to the uses section later on in the review. Now, continuing down along the hall, we come to what at first I thought was a waiting room for passengers, but I don't know. It says waiting lounge, I get it, but it also seems to me like it could be an emergency holding area. You know, let's say Space Elon Musk, you know, had a little too much to drink and needed somewhere to sleep it off. You know, this definitely looks like those clothes to me. Just an idea. Also, on the 1 in 6 billion chance that Elon Musk watches this, I happen to love pretty much everything you're doing. Keep it up, bud. We come through this last airlock, and we get to the hangar. Now, here's one of the places where the 890 separates itself from the Carrack. The Carrack's hangar space is extremely limited, and while this is not massive, you're not going to fit a Cutlass Black in here. It is significantly larger than the hangar for the Carrack, so you can fit, I think we fit an Arrow and a Gladius in here. A whole bunch of Furies could fit on here, and it's neat because you don't even have to actually lift it all the way up to get the ships out. All you got to do is open it, because you can just open the hangar doors and then they can fly out and do their business. So instead of having to take the extra 10-15 seconds or so for the elevator to go all the way up, you can just open the doors, fly your Furies or your small ships out, handle your business, and come back. Alternatively, you can park a little bit larger ships than what you can do in the Carrack. So there's just some neat flexibility there. I'd say if you own one of these, try out any number of different ships that you want. I tend to carry my 315P in here. I think it's just a perfect match. It's a fun little ship. Another detail about the hangar area that I love, and it's small and it doesn't do anything, but the basketball hoop. I don't know why. I don't even really like basketball, but I just love that there's a hoop there. They're getting their exercise in while they're out. Maybe that's what the pre-workout's for, huh? You'll see a door on either end here, and what those lead to the large laser cannon turrets. There's one on each side, and they're each mounting 2 M6A laser cannons. We're going to keep going around. Here's our crew EVA suit storage, although like every other ship that has EVA suit storage, it's not functional at the moment, so it'll be neat when we can use it. Right now it's just an aesthetic. Here's the crew recreation room. It's got a full billiards table, an empty beer fridge, which is something I got to work on, or I'm going to have some salty sailors before you know it, and a nice little arcade here. I do kind of wish there were some games on it, but I get it. Like, it'd be neat, but I'm not sitting here complaining that there's not. Come a little further in, and we get to the crew habitation area. One of those, it's a small detail, again, but something that I love is that each crew member gets their own room. You know, it's a fully enclosed room. They have their own storage space, own little dressers here, own little TV to do whatever they want in their off time. Come over here, and we've got crew restrooms. You know, are they as nice as the captain's quarters or the passenger area? No, but that's still I could tell you from my experience in the military, that's a pretty nice setup here. Hopefully the crew aren't all vampires, but you know, we'll find out. And there's 3 of them. So for what, 7, 8 crew members, counting the captain, that's actually a pretty high ratio of restrooms. They've got their own little mess area, a secondary kind of lounge area for them to just kind of chill out. Come around here. We're almost to the end, guys. Come around here, we get the actual galley. It's a full kitchen. I really like that there's all these crazy looking fruits and spices and non-interactable tools and stuff lying around. It looks like a kitchen. Like, it looks like where you would go to have a nice meal made. I like the refrigerator, all these little spices, and who knows what all those little things are. Suspicious looking plants growing in that one. I'm not going to ask too many questions about what the crew's doing in their off time. And we come around here to another set of escape pods. These are specifically for the crew. And a surprising feature is, I think of this as a battle bridge, or a CIC for some of you Navy folks. It's laid out just like the regular bridge, and it is just like the regular bridge with one major exception we'll get to in a second. This left seat is the missile turret seat. Right seat is the laser repeater turret's seat. And this is the pilot's seat. I'm going to go ahead and take a seat here. And I said seat, like a whole bunch right there. But you'll notice pretty quickly, one of the things that kind of is weird about this, you can't see anything. And the pilot controls, where it shows us what's going on, for some reason you have to look all the way up here. So from here you can only fly the ship in third person. However, there is kind of a neat thing about that if you think about it. You know, if you're having a party on the ship and you're role playing and you don't want the crew to be sticking out a whole bunch, you can still fly the ship and handle the necessities from down here and not have to be running around where a bunch of other folks are doing the role play stuff. Okay, so the 890 Jump is a unique ship in many ways. It has one of the highest hull HP pools of 153,200. It has one of the highest stock shield HP values, and it is an astounding number here at 1,549,041 HP. Keep in mind that's a quadrant shield, so that it is spread out over 4 different sections. But that makes this one of the toughest ships to destroy in the game. It truly is a tank of a ship. And while I can't say that it's as well armed as a Carrack in terms of its turret locations, the 890 does mount 4 gun turrets. Of course, we have the 2 M6A laser cannon turrets that each have 2 guns on them. And we also have the 2 laser repeater turrets mounting the 2 size 3 laser repeaters. There are 4 missile turrets, each holding, once again, 8 size 2 Ignite infrared missiles, as well as the pilot has control of 8 size 3 Arrestor cross-section missiles. So in terms of pure ship stats, where the 890 really falls short of the Carrack to me is in its maneuver stats. It only has an SCM speed of 80 meters a second. The agility stats are 20 degrees pitch, 20 degrees yaw, and 40 degrees rotation. Excuse me. It is not going to outmaneuver anything except maybe a reclaimer, which will still have a huge firepower advantage if it's only half crewed. The max speed is also rather low at only 900 meters a second. Now keep in mind, that's not the design focus of this ship, and with its larger hangar bay, the ship can more easily carry better defensive craft like an Arrow, Gladius, or like I said earlier, an assortment of Furies. Now, as far as the uses for this ship, it is not as versatile or flexible as its main rival to a lot of players, the Carrack. But then again, that's not really the point of this ship. This ship is the ultimate flex ship in the game right now. It is the ultimate, I have it, you don't ship, and that works for a lot of people's personalities. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's their business. You know, if they want to spend $1,000 on a single ship, more power to them. That's cool. I'm happy that there are people who have the opportunity to do that. I don't. I bought it in game. I don't regret it. It is a fun ship. It definitely has its uses. You know, if you're doing multi-crew stuff and you just want to chill and not go do a bunch of missions, you just want to run around and have some fun with your friends, this is actually a great ship. The best use in game for actually making back some of the staggering cost of the ship is running bunkers. Because just like the Carrack, you know, you throw an Ursa or your favorite Cyclone or two in the cargo bay, put a C8 rescue in the hangar, set your spawn to the med bed, and you can just keep running bunkers till a 30k hits or you fall asleep at your keyboard. Also, cargo is a viable alternative, but the atmospheric flight limitations have to be taken into account, and you will absolutely require an escort, eating into the profits more than what I personally would be comfortable with. But once again, that's multi-crew gameplay. That's more options for people who are really looking for that. Now, a great use for this ship, and I've mentioned it quite a few times already, is as a location for roleplay to take place. You know, especially once engineering gameplay is introduced, having someone manage the myriad systems, having someone piloting, people gunning, multi-crew gameplay on this ship is going to be even more of a blast than it already is. Overall, I can't lie. I do like this ship. I like it much more than I like the 600i, which I don't think is a bad ship. And I like it way more than the 400i, which I don't like the 400i. That's just a personal thing. I didn't think I would. I'm super excited to see how this evolves in use with the introduction of the new gameplay loops coming in the near future. However, realistically, the cost to purchase it is incredibly prohibitive, and its in-game use at this time is not particularly easy when compared to other ships that are close in price or size. I mean, for just a little over $8 million more than you're going to spend on this, you can buy a Reclaimer and a Carrack, which are just much more useful ships for the average player. I don't want to sound like I'm telling people not to buy this. If you have the means and you want it, test it first, because that's $1,000. So test it first, you know, and even if you're buying it in-game, test it first. Find somebody that's got one and ask them if you can fly it, because just about 33 million credits, that's a lot of work to spend on a ship that you end up not liking. So you want to make sure that this actually is the ship you're looking for. But if it is, you're going to like it. You're going to have fun with it. It's a great ship. This has been Heimdall's review of the Origin 890 Jump. If you like what I'm doing, take a second, click that like button, tap subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications for new content. My IRL schedule is starting to slow down again, so I will be able to make more content again soon. I had to go, a video a month over most of the summer, and this is my second one this week, so I'm keeping up with it. I'm getting back in the groove. In the meantime, the channel is creeping closer and closer to the point where I can introduce memberships. If you have any ideas on what you'd like to see from a membership to my channel, please let me know in the comments. That's something I'm pretty excited about. I think we'll be able to do some neat things. As always, it has been a blast, and I sincerely appreciate your time that you spent watching my videos. Have fun out there, and I look forward to seeing you all out there in the verse.